The drama begins with the male lead, whose name is Xiao, cycling in Beijing. Xiao hides his cycle and starts to go into a building stealthily, looking around to see if anyone is watching him. He enters the building through a window. It's not an ordinary building, it's a library. There he sees some shoe prints, and following those prints he goes inside and sees that it looks like someone was reading a book here. He picks up the book and starts looking at it. Just then, he hears a sound. The female lead, Tong, enters through the same window. When she moves forward, her book isn't there, and she thinks, "Where did my book go?" Xiao takes that book and leaves. Elsewhere in Beijing, Guo was casually riding his cycle when he saw the beautiful girl, Hong. Guo started to like her at first sight. Meanwhile, in the library, Xiao was eating a dumpling and Tong was reading. Hearing her sound, Xiao feels that someone is there. Just then, things fall from near him, and Tong also hears the sound. In the city, Hong gets on a bus, and Guo follows that bus. As Guo starts chasing the bus, the people sitting inside talk about how boys these days chase girls. When Tong realizes that someone is there, she tries to leave. Xiao also starts trying to get out. Just then, Xiao hears the voices of two men talking to each other. "We hear noises from this library. Could it be a ghost?" And then, following the footprints, they come inside and are about to catch Tong when Xiao diverts their attention towards himself. And by the time they get to Xiao, Tong has fled from there. Meanwhile, Guo falls while chasing the bus, and the bus passengers start laughing at his antics. Back in the library, those two men had caught Xiao, but he distracted them with his talk and ran away from there. Meanwhile, when Chen goes to get Xiao's skates, the uncle asks him, "Where is Xiao?" Chen replies, "Xiao has gone to read a book." The next day, everyone is skating at the skating ground when a girl, Zhao, is being teased by everyone. Just then, her husband, Haizi, arrives and gets angry at her, saying, "You are wearing indecent clothes. That's why the boys are acting like this." Haizi is the leader of his gang. And then, Xiao and Guo get into a fight with Haizi's gang. He threatens them, gives them a location, and says, "Come to this place and then I'll see you guys." Then Guo asks Xiao, "What did he say?" Xiao explains everything. Later that night, Xiao and Guo are talking, and Xiao asks him, "How did you get this injury?" So Guo tells him, "I saw a beautiful girl today." And then Xiao tells him, "My father has some problems, so you should join the army." Guo says, "I won't do that. We promised since childhood that we would join the army together." Then, at Guo's request, Xiao starts making a painting of that girl, Hong, and Guo says, "On her birthday, I will gift her this painting and we will also put it up at the skating ground, so maybe we will find that girl soon." When Guo comes home, his mother says, "Because of Xiao, you didn't join the army before, but now you will have to." Who knows when Xiao's problems will be solved? The next day, they put up the painting at the skating ground and write, "Whoever finds this girl will be given an award by Guo." Guo's sister has come home, and his mother doesn't like it because she is having some problems with her husband. At a restaurant, Guo, Xiao, and all their friends are partying and drinking. There, Guo's sister, Fanzi, tells Xiao, "You should take a little care of Guo. Since childhood, he has done everything for you." Xiao says, "I will always take care of him." Meanwhile, when everyone goes to the skating ground, Fanzi's friend Tong also comes, whom Xiao is very happy to see and starts to like. Seeing Xiao's expression change, Guo understood everything. While they were skating, Guo saw that girl, Hong. He goes after her and starts skating behind her. Just then, they find out that she is from Haizi's gang. Xiao thinks, "Tong is the same girl I met in the library." Just then, Haizi comes and asks, "Who is Guo?" When no one speaks, after a while, Xiao says, "I am Guo," and Hong gives Guo and Xiao a look and leaves. Haizi tells both of them, "Stay away from this girl because my brother Tian likes her." When Hong is skating, Xiao starts following her and reaches her group, and they get into a fight with her group's gang. In the meantime, the police arrive and tell them to disperse the group. While leaving, Tian gives Xiao a place and address and says, "Bring as many people as you want for the fight, I can bring just as many." Coming home, Xiao starts thinking about the girl, Hong. Guo also thinks about that girl and Xiao. The next morning, all the friends are sitting and talking about what to do about Haizi and Tian's group and how to go fight with them. Just then, Hong arrives there. She takes Xiao into the room and says, "End this fight right here. Tian won't come there either, and you also don't bring your people there." Then Hong tells him, "I like you," to which Xiao says, "My friend Guo likes you, and I have no interest in you." When Hong is about to leave, Xiao gives her a letter on which is written at what time and at which place to meet. When Tian gets that note, he starts to go to that place. As he drops Hong home, he asks, "Do you like Xiao so much that you are stopping me from fighting him? Because you've never stopped me from fighting anyone before." To this, Hong says, "I have no interest in you. I stay with you only so that no harm comes to Xiao." Zhao goes to a gangster to fight that group and asks him to fight. That gangster says, I have quit this work. I have suffered a lot of loss. My brothers have also gone to jail. So there is nothing in this work. Life is very different from this, and you also shouldn't do all this. You will suffer a great loss. Hearing all this, Xiao gets lost in thought and likes what he said. Meanwhile, everyone is waiting for Xiao. When he arrives, he gives them all the wrong address. The next day, Tian and his men arrive at that place, but they see that Xiao has come alone. He starts talking to them. Just then, Xiao's men also arrive there, and they tell Xiao, you told us the wrong address, but we found out, so we came. A fight was about to break out between the two groups when a man arrives, who is Tian's senior. He takes off his hat, gives it to Xiao, and apologizes. But Xiao says, you are an elder, and he returns the hat and refuses to let him apologize. And peace was made between the two groups, and the fight ended. In the meantime, the police arrive, and we're about to catch them all when they say, we haven't come here to fight, and then the police search them but find nothing on them. So they take Tian and Xiao to give a statement. Meanwhile, Guo's mother tells him, we have to go to Tong's house tomorrow. Get ready properly. Elsewhere, Hong was unloading vegetables from a truck because her family's financial condition was very bad. She supports her family by doing part-time jobs, and then the workers there see her working in the cold and give her gloves. Tian and Xiao are sitting when Hong comes there to deliver vegetables. Seeing Xiao there, she is shocked. So Tian tells Xiao, after Hong's father's death, she survives with great difficulty and does part-time jobs. Tian feels very bad for her and supports her a lot, and while supporting her, he started to like her. Tian says, I think Hong likes Xiao, not Guo, and Xiao starts thinking. Meanwhile, when Guo, searching for Hong's address, sees her house, he is shocked. He thought that Hong is so full of attitude, she must be very rich, but seeing the condition of her house, he understands. Xiao comes to drop Hong home, and Hong asks, do you like me? To which Xiao gives no answer. When Hong goes home, she tells her mother, a boy named Guo had come. I talked with him for a long time, and I liked him a lot. Meanwhile, the two rival groups become friends, and they all party and drink. And Hong's friendship with Xiao also starts to grow, which Guo is not happy to see. Tong's mother, at her dad's behest, tells Tong, you have to join the army. But Tong says, I don't want to go into the army. I want to become a doctor. Meanwhile, Xiao's sister tells him, get out of dad's problems and join the army, or you will pass the age limit. To which Xiao says, I still have a lot of time. You leave everything and make meat for dad so he can eat. The next day, he goes to meet his dad with the food. And at first his dad, due to Alzheimer's, thinks he is a soldier. But then Xiao tells him, I am your son. And then they both talk a lot about the army. Meanwhile, the teacher tells Hong, you should teach the whole class violin because you play the violin very well. And Tian is waiting for her outside and butters up the teacher so that the teacher behaves well with Hong. When Hong comes out, Tian tells her, there is an army event. I have got a ticket for it. And Hong becomes quiet. Tian says, don't you worry. When your dad's matter is resolved, you can also join the army. But she becomes sad. The next day, while Hong was practicing the violin, Xiao comes and gives her hand cream. She is very happy after applying the hand cream. Xiao asks her if she can play the violin. She says, yes, I can play, and our whole family is musically very rich, but I can't play at home because it will be a problem for our neighbors. So Xiao says, let's go somewhere outside, to a peaceful place. They both go out, and there Hong plays the violin while Xiao watches her, and he starts to like her. Then Xiao also sings some songs for her, and they both come home. They thank each other, saying, these were some precious moments for us. Meanwhile, when Hong is taking a class, Guo is watching her from outside. When she comes out, she asks him what he was doing here. And then they both come home, and Guo also plays a song for her from a cassette. Then Guo comes home and asks where Xiao is, but Xiao's sister doesn't know. Meanwhile, Xiao was helping Hong unload vegetables from the truck. Then they both go home, and Hong also offers Xiao food. Just then, Guo also arrives there. Guo and Xiao are shocked to see each other there. They are both sitting when her mother arrives and meets Guo. Xiao introduces himself as Guo's friend and leaves. Coming home, he tries to make a painting of Hong, but it doesn't turn out perfect. The next day, while skating, Guo was watching Hong, and Hong was watching Xiao. The others notice these three. While skating, when Hong stops, Guo thinks she is tired and goes to get water for her, but Hong goes to find Xiao. He is also standing tired in one place. Hong tells him, why don't you admit that you get jealous seeing me and Guo? To which Xiao says, it's nothing like that, and leaves. Coming out of the ground, everyone is talking, and Xiao tells them, when I used to go to the library, I saw a girl there. She is very well read and loves reading books, but I haven't seen her because when the security came, I diverted their attention to save her, and by then, that girl had left. And Tong is also listening to all this, but Hong feels jealous hearing all this and says, this is all a lie, and leaves from there. Xiao is thinking about Hong when Fanzi tells him, don't leave Hong because of Guo, because Hong likes you. and it shouldn't happen that a difference comes between your friendship and your brother Guo gets hurt. Saying this, she leaves. Coming home, Xiao is thinking about the girl from the library. Meanwhile, Fanzi explains to Guo and says, "Leave Hong alone. She and Xiao like each other, and Hong comes with you just to make Xiao feel jealous. You look like a shadow with Xiao. You don't seem to have your own existence." Hearing all this, Guo feels very bad and becomes sad. At night, when Xiao is sitting outside, Guo also comes and sits next to him and says, "Do you like Hong?" To which Xiao says, "I have always been better than you in everything." And he says, "We will not lose respect for each other. We will both like Hong," and then accept Hong's final decision. They both go into the room. The next day, Hong and Xiao roam around on a cycle and enjoy a lot, and Guo is talking with Hong's mother. When Hong goes home, she is shocked to see Guo sitting with her mom, and Guo gives her a ticket and says, "We will go to see a movie on Sunday." But Hong returns the ticket and also the money he had given to support her family. But Guo still tells her, "Wait for Sunday," and leaves. When she comes back, her mother tells her, "Both these boys are very nice, but you should make a decision very carefully. Don't create problems for yourself like your mother," and Guo is also a very nice boy. Meanwhile, Hong asks Xiao, "Will we be able to get movie tickets for the movie Guo told me about?" So Xiao says, "The tickets for that are sold out," and both become sad. Coming home, Xiao asks his sister, "Can movie tickets be arranged from somewhere?" To which his sister says, "Do you have to go with Hong?" Then Xiao takes Hong to meet his father, and his father thinks Hong is a soldier. So Xiao tells Hong, "My father's condition is not well." Then his dad starts to recognize him, but then something happens, and he again starts thinking of them both as soldiers. Coming outside, Xiao tells Hong, "My family's condition is not that good either. Both our families are in a similar situation." Meanwhile, Guo is waiting for Hong outside the film theater all night, but Hong doesn't come, and he leaves sad. At night, Hong can't sleep well. She remembers her mom's words. Meanwhile, Tong also thinks, "Should I tell Xiao that I am that library girl?" Just then, Tong hears Haizi's gang talking, who are planning to teach Xiao a lesson because Haizi says, "Xiao snatched Hong from my brother Tian." Meanwhile, Guo's father tells him, "Take your mom and go to Tong's house, and if there are no other issues in the army, your and Xiao's joining can happen." On the way, Xiao meets Tong. She says, "You are in danger from Haizi's gang, and you shouldn't leave the house." Xiao says, "Don't you worry, I will handle it." And yes, Guo is a very nice boy. You two will be very happy together, because both families also want this. Then, in the course of conversation, Tong asks, "Do you like Hong?" He says nothing, but Tong understands, and she takes back the note she brought from the library and goes home. When she gets home, Guo's dad and mom have come to ask for her hand in marriage, and when Guo meets Tong, she tells him, "We shouldn't take the date fixed by our parents so seriously. I know you like Hong." And then she tells him, Zhao is in danger from Haizi's gang. They are planning against him. Hearing this, Guo runs from there, and his mom and dad also go after him. Tong's parents think Tong refused and he ran away, but Tong tells them Guo likes someone. Meanwhile, Guo runs home and tells Xiao everything. Xiao says, "I already know about all this." The whole group gets angry. In the next scene, they all reach Haizi's gang, and a fight breaks out between them in which Haizi gets injured, and then they take him to the hospital. Xiao goes to them and apologizes and tries to end the matter. Meanwhile, Guo's dad gets a call from someone who tells him about the fight between Guo and his friends. So his dad scolds Guo and tells him, "Stay away from this matter." Then his mother asks him, "Who is the girl you like?" To which he says, "She is a very normal girl. I met her at the skating ground." And saying this, he leaves. Tong is a doctor in the same hospital, and she takes great care of Haizi. Haizi and his wife thank her. Just then, Xiao arrives. He gives Tong some fruits to give to Haizi because he had refused to meet Xiao, and Xiao praises Tong, saying she is a very good doctor. Meanwhile, Tian tells Hong, "Make your decision very thoughtfully. You are a very respected girl. I like you a lot, but for your sake, I will go to Hong Kong, and I want to celebrate your last birthday." Saying this, he leaves. Xiao and Tian meet and drink. Tian tells Xiao, "I have no family, only Hong. So take great care of her because I will be leaving from here." While they are talking, they hear something fall. They go outside to see, and it's one of Li's man, who is Haizi's senior gangster, who had come there and was trying to listen to their conversation. The next day, Xiao asks Haizi, "Where is Tian?" He says, "Tian is missing." Then Hong comes and says the same thing. "Where did Tian go?" He asks Hong, "Where could Tian have gone?" Hong says, "He told me, I will give you a surprise, and that surprise is a tape recorder." Hearing the name of the tape recorder, Xiao gets worried and asks, "Where does he get that tape recorder from?" To which Hong says, he gets it through smuggling. Hearing this, Xiao remembers Li's man who was secretly listening to their conversation. Xiao goes to him, and he says, it's possible that Tian is in jail. And then he finds out that Tian is in jail. They go to the jail. There they find out that Tian has been arrested in a smuggling case. And when the police are taking Tian out, all his friends are present there. Hong is very sad to see him and starts crying. Coming home when Hong plays the violin, she remembers the moments spent with Tian. Then, a year passes, and Xiao takes very good care of Hong. Xiao was walking on the road in Beijing and sees that Hong's house has caught fire. He runs and brings her mom out, and then also brings Hong out. But Hong goes back in to get her father's photo, and Xiao brings her out again. In the meantime, Hong's mother falls and faints. Xiao goes to get a cycle to take them to the hospital. Just then, Guo arrives. Guo puts her mother in his car and takes her to the hospital. Outside the hospital, Hong and Guo are waiting when the doctor tells them the patient needs to be shifted to the ward. Hong tells Guo, "I don't have money," so he says, "I will bring the money." In the meantime, Xiao also arrives and the doctor tells them Hong's mother will need surgery. And she says, "I don't understand anything. I need some time." And then night falls. Xiao says, "Where will Hong stay?" Her house has also burned down. "There is a free room in my house because dad is not at home." And then Xiao brings Hong to his house. He tells her, "My sister has gone out for some work, so use her things. I will bring new things for you in the morning." Meanwhile, Guo's mother asks him, "Where were you all day?" So he explains, "We had taken Hong's mother to the hospital because their house caught fire." The next morning, while having breakfast, Xiao tells Hong, "Make your decision thoughtfully. You don't need to change your path because someone is forcing you. Get to know both of us. Whatever your decision is, we will both accept it." To which Hong says, "I feel very bad. I am very sorry because due to me, problems have arisen between you two friends." Xiao says, "It's nothing like that." Xiao is taking Hong to the hospital. On the way, Guo sees them going together and becomes sad. And coming home, he tells his father, "I am ready to join the army, but I have one condition. If Hong also gets to join with me." His father says, "Your problem might complicate in Hong's joining." But Guo doesn't listen and leaves. Meanwhile, when Xiao was practicing, he gets a call that his father has been admitted to the hospital due to his deteriorating health. So the doctors explain, "We are now shifting your dad home. It's possible that he may not recognize you at all." Hong is also present there. Then Xiao goes there to meet Tong. And meanwhile, Guo comes to the hospital with fruit to meet Xiao's father. Right there, Guo asks Hong, "Do you want to join the army?" Hong says nothing and Guo leaves. In the hospital, Xiao goes to Tong, and she gives him a blood pressure checking instrument and explains it to him saying, "You can't take it home, but whenever you tell me, I will come once a week to check your dad's health." Xiao thanks her. And then they bring Hong and Dad home. Dad doesn't like that room. Then Hong and Xiao decorate it according to an army theme, which makes Dad very happy. And he also tells Hong, "Thank you for helping so much and taking care of my father." Meanwhile, Guo joins the army and goes for training. There, many girls like Guo, but Guo doesn't pay attention to anyone. And then he calls Xiao and asks about his dad's health. And then he talks to Hong and tells her, "There is a need for a violinist here in the army because the girl who was here before got an injury and left, and you have a very good chance of getting this job." Hearing this, Xiao gets a little sad, but he is also very happy for Hong. Just then, Tong comes there to check on Xiao's dad's health and reports, "Your dad's health is improving." And then she asks about Hong, to which Xiao says she is playing the violin and praises her musical art a lot. In the hospital, when Hong goes to see her mother explains to her, "Why are you staying in Xiao's house? You shouldn't stay there. That boy is not good for you." Hong remains silent. The next day, Xiao and Hong are very worried because their dad hadn't slept for 2 days. They make a plan and take their father to a mountain area and let him sleep. Hong also falls asleep with her head on Xiao's shoulder. Meanwhile, Guo calls Hong, but they are not there and the call is not received, which makes Guo very sad. When Xiao's dad wakes up, he starts recognizing everyone, and he is very happy. Then he brings his dad home. Meanwhile, Guo calls again, but the call is still not received. When Xiao and Hong come home, the uncle with the phone tells them that they had a call. Then he talks to Guo, and in the conversation he tells him, "Due to this triangle, some differences have come between us three." Meanwhile, when Guo comes home, his father is very happy that Guo has done very well in training. Guo then goes to Xiao's house and feels a little bad seeing Hong there. Then he sees Xiao, and they both hug. But Guo doesn't feel good seeing Xiao and Hong together like that. Meanwhile, a love story was going on between Guo's sister Fanzi and Xiao's brother Chen. But Guo's parents were going to get Fanzi engaged somewhere else. So they both make a plan, and Fanzi hands Chen over to the police, claiming, "Chen tried to force himself on me." When Fanzi's family and Zhao's family find out about this, they get very worried. Then Fanzi tells everyone, "We planned all this so that the person I am getting engaged to would refuse himself, and my engagement would be with Chen." Her mother scolds her a lot and says, "You have ruined your image so much." And when Chen also comes home, Xiao starts hitting him and then explains to both of them and scolds them for why they did such a thing. And then the preparations for Chen and Fanzi's engagement begin at home, and everyone is very happy. In the next scene, Guo goes to the hospital to meet Tong and tells her, "You are in the medical field, and your father is in the army. give your place to Hong because she is very fond of it. At first, Tong refuses, but then she agrees. Meanwhile, Xiao comes to the hospital to meet Hong and tells her Tong has agreed to give you her place. And Hong starts practicing. Just then, during practice, Guo tells Tong, bring your father. Tong's father listens to her music and selects her, and Hong is very happy. And she tells Xiao, we will join the army together. I am very happy about this. Just then, Guo arrives and tells Hong, due to some political issues and because of Xiao's dad, he cannot join the army either. Hearing this, Hong leaves. Xiao and Tong are watching them, and Xiao thanks Tong. Just then, Hong arrives, very sad. Xiao notices. Then they both come home, and Xiao's sister has arrived. Xiao introduces Hong, and his sister is very happy and says, Hong is a very good girl. You treat her very well. And they both start to smile. Meanwhile, when Tong's father comes home, he gets angry at Tong. Why did you give your place to that girl? You shouldn't become a doctor, you should join the army. But Tong doesn't listen to any talk about her career and leaves. And when she goes upstairs to her room and opens a book, she finds that note from Xiao that she got in the library, and seeing that note, she starts to cry. The next morning, Xiao is cycling when he sees a violin box on the way. He takes that violin box for Hong because Hong liked that box very much, and going home, he gifts it to her. At night, when Hong is sleeping, she sees the box and thinks, am I doing the right thing? Leaving this boy and choosing a job. A boy who would die for me, who loves me so much. Meanwhile, Guo goes to the hospital to meet Hong's mother, and Hong is standing outside. She thanks Guo for his help, and Guo tells her, you should join the army. You should think about your future. Think about yourself and your family. This opportunity won't come again. And Hong starts to think. At night, Tong comes to his house to meet Xiao and tells him, no one wants to tell you, but you couldn't join the army this time either. Hearing this, he thanks Tong and comes home. The next morning, he takes Hong for the interview, and finally, Hong gets selected. All her friends are very happy, and they all go cycling. Then they go to a hotel to eat. There, Guo, to belittle Xiao, says in conversation, which regiment are you joining? To which Xiao says, I didn't get selected this time. Then he asks about Hong's selection, to which Xiao says, I am very happy for her. Hong and Xiao are talking. Hong apologizes to him. I didn't tell you. Xiao says, it's all right. She says, I chose the job, and you can't come there, but I like you. Then Xiao also confesses his feelings, and they both promise that they will always remember each other and only think about each other. Work was being done on Hong's house, so Xiao starts working there. Guo also arrives there and starts working with him. At first, their situation becomes awkward. Then Xiao says, if you want to say sorry, say it quickly. Guo says, this is wrong. The girl I liked first, you are dating her. To which Xiao says, we promised that we would both like Hong, and the final decision would be Hong's. Guo also agrees to this, and they become best friends again. Just then, Hong brings soup for them. Then, Hong's mother is discharged from the hospital and comes home. She tells Hong to call Guo, but Hong doesn't. So her mother says, don't be with Xiao. Your future could be ruined. Guo is a good boy, but Hong doesn't give any answer. And then Guo calls Hong and says, I will help with your mother's surgery. Xiao is my friend. I have sorted out my problems with Xiao as well. But Hong is not ready to take his help for free and becomes silent. Then Xiao throws a party at his house for Hong's selection. Everyone enjoys a lot, and then they say goodbye, telling each other to write letters. After dropping them at the station, when Xiao comes back, he is very sad and starts missing Hong. Meanwhile, Xiao's sister tells Tong, Hong is a very self-centered girl, and Xiao will understand this very soon. Tong can't hear about Xiao and gets up and leaves. Then Xiao gets Hong's first letter. She writes to him, I am missing you a lot, and tells him about her condition there. Then when Xiao comes home, he sees that Tong had come to check on his father. He offers Tong water, and Tong tells him, you should move on. Until you get a job in the military, you should definitely do some other work. You shouldn't sit at home, and with the changing world, you should move forward. He writes all these things to Hong and says, I will move on with the world and will definitely do some work. Hong also motivates him, saying, that's a very good thing. You should do it. Then Xiao joins a supermarket and starts working there. Meanwhile, in Yunnan, Hong is washing clothes with her fellows when Guo arrives. He starts helping her. Just then, the girls there ask her, is something going on between you and Guo? Because your selection was because of him. To which Hong says, it's nothing like that. Then Hong becomes friends with a girl there. Then their madam informs them that the final program is about to happen. She takes Hong aside and says, you have to perform in this, and this is a very big event. Hong promises her madam, I will not disappoint you. I will perform my best. Meanwhile, after Xiao's sister goes to the hostel, Xiao has to manage the whole house, cook for his dad, and then also go to the market. So Xiao was living a very fulfilling life. In Yunnan, Hong has a performance, and everyone is very impressed with her. The second-grade secretary comes there and praises Hong and asks about her. Just then, Guo also arrives. Guo knows the secretary, and they are both talking. Later, Guo tells Hong he is very arrogant. The secretary calls Hong and tells her, "Be available tonight." When Hong comes, all the girls there are jealous of her, and one girl tells her, "Which family are you from that you are given so much protocol?" Then their madam has the other jealous girl participate in the concert instead of Hong, and Hong feels very bad. Hong sits by the river thinking and is hurt about how the madam took that girl in her place. And just then, she starts to feel unwell. A girl there calls Guo and tells him Hong has fallen ill. Guo gets very worried seeing her in that condition in the hospital. Meanwhile, Xiao keeps waiting for Hong's letter. And then, tired of waiting, he writes a letter himself and asks, "How is your health? Are you okay or not?" And he also tells her, Fanzi and Chen's exam is about to happen. And then, on the day of the exam, Fanzi and Chen go to take the exam, and Heizi and his gang come and start hitting Chen and knock him down. Just then, Xiao arrives and saves both of them. While fighting them, Xiao faints. Then they bring him to the hospital. There, Tong takes great care of him and tells him, "You are fine now," and gives him fruit to eat. Fanzi and Chen get admission to the university. They are both very happy. With them are Xiao and Tong. They all talk, and then Tong tells Xiao, "You will also become a very good soldier," and he also motivates Tong. Then he gives Tong a gift. She refuses to take it, but he still insists. His sister had prepared that gift for her because Tong had helped them a lot in her father's case. Then Tong thanks him and leaves. In Yunnan, Hong meets Guo, and then Hong finds out that Guo had a photo shoot to be featured in the military newspaper, so she is very surprised. And she also wants to talk to that secretary because being in the newspaper was a very big deal. And she goes in his jeep for the photo shoot with the secretary. But on the way, she realizes the secretary's intentions towards me are not right. Meanwhile, Guo is waiting for her. When she comes, Guo asks where she had been. She explains, "I went for a photo shoot." Then the secretary starts talking to her for Guo, to which Hong says, "No matter how handsome you become, you can't become a good person like Guo." All the girls present there also agree. Meanwhile, in Beijing, Xiao gives good news. "I have finally been selected in the army, and my selection is in the same place where Guo and Hong are." Hearing this, his sister and his dad are all very happy. At night, everyone is having dinner. They also invite Tong for dinner. Xiao's dad starts to think of Xiao as a soldier. He salutes his dad and thinks of Tong as his daughter-in-law, saying, "Tong is there for Xiao. Now we just need to find a girl for Chen." Then they all get emotional about Xiao leaving. Xiao comes out to see Tong off and tells her, "You also study very well and fulfill your dreams." Then Tong asks him, "Are we still just friends?" To which Xiao says, "Yes." Just then, Tong leaves. In Yunnan, Hong writes a letter to Xiao and tells him, "I was sick for a few days." And then she tells him, "Very life-changing things are happening in my life, but I am handling them well." Meanwhile, everyone goes to see Yao off and gets emotional. Arriving there, Xiao's training begins, and there is a boy, Duan, with whom Xiao has an argument, and he is ready to beat Xiao. Then they have a competition. To win the competition, Duan cheats, so Xiao tells his trainer, "Give us another competition." Then they have a final competition. Xiao is very happy to see his brother Guo in this position. Then they have a pull-ups competition. Duan wins again. Then Guo and Xiao are introduced. They both look at each other and smile, because on duty, they couldn't show their personal relationship. Then Guo calls Hong and tells her, "I met Xiao today." Hong first congratulates him. Congratulations on becoming an officer, and says, "I will be able to meet him at the next ceremony." Xiao is sitting worried, thinking, "How can Duan win in everything? I will definitely get my lost pride back." Just then, a soldier comes and tells him, "The officer is calling you." When he goes, Guo is there. Xiao greets him, and they both hug. They both talk about how they were together in the past and are now here together, having different experiences. Guo asks, "Have you met Hong?" To which Xiao says, "I couldn't meet her." Then Guo tells him, "Hong's group has gone on a trip somewhere. When they come back, you will be able to meet her." Then they both go to their respective rooms. The next day, on the day of the function, Hong is looking at Xiao before the performance and is very happy. The performance begins, and Hong and Xiao both look at each other. Their eyes meet. Both are very happy. The performance ends. Hong performs very well. Their madam also praises Hong and her entire group a lot. In the next scene, when Xiao's sister comes home, she sees that Tong is there checking on her father. They both sit and talk a lot and enjoy. In Yunnan, during Xiao's training, Xiao comes second again in the run, and Duan comes first. In all the performances, Duan comes first and Xiao comes second. And Guo comes and praises both of them and says Xiao was a little slow in running. At night, sitting on the road, Xiao is very sad. Guo also comes there and explains to him, "Don't worry, you will surely win and come first. Don't lose heart. We don't get everything we want." At night, Xiao is thinking about his disabilities and is sad. Then he gets up and starts training because he wants to do his best. He wants to come in first. Guo praises Xiao a lot in front of everyone. He is working very hard to bring himself forward. Seeing him practicing like this, Duan brings him water, and they become friends. Tong comes home, gives Dad medicine, and reads a letter to him in which Xiao writes, "The training is very difficult, and this is how I am living here." And just then, Xiao's sister arrives. She and Tong eat together. Meanwhile, Xiao's training was over, and he got a 2-day vacation. Then he comes to Guo and asks to meet Hong. Meanwhile, a girl tells Hong, "Someone has come to meet you." Hearing this, she becomes very happy. They are meeting after such a long time and are very happy, but they don't show any physical affection because they are meeting. According to army rules, Hong has to leave due to her practice, and they decide to meet for dinner at night. At night, they have dinner, and Duan also arrives there, and the three of them start talking. They come outside when a businessman comes running and tells them, "Some goons are chasing me." Just then, those goons also arrive, and these three start fighting them. Xiao and Hong get injured. Just then, the police arrive, and in the course of Xiao's self-defense, a man gets stabbed with a knife and he dies right there. Xiao asks Hong, "Why didn't you leave?" To which Hong says, "I love you and I couldn't leave my love in such trouble." Then they both thank each other and say, "We will care for each other like this for our whole lives." When Guo hears this, he runs to the hospital and starts fighting with Xiao. "If something more had happened to Hong because of you, then what?" Xiao calms him down and says, "You weren't there, so you think it's my fault." Hong clarifies, "Xiao saved my life and that businessman's life, otherwise who knows what would have happened." Then, the police take Xiao to give a statement and they say, "You didn't commit any murder. Killing another goon is not a crime. You three should get an award." Then, when Xiao comes back, Guo and everyone discusses. Guo says, "The goon who died has a brother who is also a goon, so he will definitely take revenge. We need to be careful." Then, that goon's brother asks for information on the three soldiers and tells him, "I want that boy Xiao's dead body here." And he brings some information. The police find out and tell Xiao, "Those goons want to kill you." Xiao and everyone make a plan on how to get out of this mess. Xiao gets angry and says, "I will deal with this." Meanwhile, when the three of them come out of the hospital, those goons are waiting for them. The goons are about to hit them when the police arrive, and they leave. Then Xiao gets on a bus, and those goons also get on the bus. And a truck comes and overtakes them, and they are about to get Xiao off the bus and kill him when the police come and catch them. And then the police give Duan and Xiao an award for helping the police in catching the goons, which makes both of them very happy. Coming back, Xiao meets Hong, and they are both talking when Hong's jealous classmate comes, and seeing them both, she leaves and goes and tells the madam. The madam calls Hong to her office and tells her, "Daughter, keep your family in your mind and don't get into the trap of love. Focus on your future and move forward." So she clarifies to the ma'am, "It's nothing like that, I don't love anyone." Then the inspectors tell Guo to form an elite group, and everyone knows this except Xiao. Meanwhile, everyone tells Hong, an elite group is going to be formed, and the ma'am comes and tells Hong, "You will have to go to Xiao's camp for some work." Then one of her fellows there asks Hong, "Do you and Guo have any relationship?" To which Hong says, "No." Then she comes with her group to Guo and Xiao's camp, where they were training for the elite group. Xiao was also training very hard to get selected in the elite group, but his fellows thought that Guo was doing all this to include Xiao in the group. But Xiao gets angry and says, "I don't want anyone to talk about my brother Guo." At night, when Xiao is training, Hong comes on the way, and she tells him, "Why are you working so hard? It's a very good thing that you are doing it for your future, but if you are getting an easy way, why aren't you taking it? Guo is helping you. Take his help. It's not necessary to choose the difficult path every time." Guo also thinks, "How can I help Xiao? I am stuck on one thing. I have to win it in the race." And then he remembers his and Xiao's old days when they both used to skate. Seeing Xiao practicing, Guo also starts running with him and thinks, "Just like Xiao has always helped me, I will also always stand by him." The next day, the race finally starts, and Xiao comes in first and gets selected for the elite group. His other colleagues say, "Xiao is the leader's friend. That's why he got selected." But Xiao tells them, "It's nothing like that. I have worked very hard." Guo gets angry there and says, "The leader has sent all this and you soldiers cannot question us." In Beijing, Tong had come to check on Xiao's father when Xiao's sister tells her a letter from Xiao has arrived. She quickly goes to get the letter. Then she reads the letter and it says, "I have joined the elite squad, and this is how I am living here and moving forward with my new people." Reading this, Tong also thinks, I should also go out and explore the world. Just then, her director tells her, there are very few medical personnel in the army, so if you want, you can be sent to the army from the hospital. In Yunnan, Zhao goes to meet Hong. Her classmates and Mam are also present there. He tells them all, I have been Hong's friend since childhood, and we used to work together. Hearing this, everyone gets a clear picture and Hong also feels relaxed. Then they go to a restaurant, and Hong thanks Xiao and says, let some time pass, then I will tell everyone that you are my boyfriend. And they both start to smile. Then, under Guo's supervision, the elite group undergoes very hard training. In Beijing, Tong gets ready for a medical job in the army. She and her mother are not happy at all and try to stop her. Just then, Fanzi arrives. Tong tells her, I am going into the army. To which Fanzi says, if you are going for Xiao, then don't go at all, because he likes Hong. To which Tong says, I am just going to fulfill my dreams. Xiao is just my friend. In Yunnan, during training, in the fire practice, when Guo starts to practice, he can't fire correctly. So in front of all the trainees, Xiao says, I'll do it. But Guo tells everyone to be quiet, and Xiao gets sad. He tells Hong how, coming here, Guo's and my relationship has changed. Then Hong tells him, you are not in Beijing, you are working under Guo. He is the platoon leader. Here, you have to follow his rules. Now, you are not friends. Here, you have a job. Hearing this, Xiao realizes his mistake. He goes to Guo and apologizes to him saying, you are my leader, and I am your soldier. You can even scold me if you want. I will not do such a thing in the future. Hearing this, Guo is happy, and they both start to smile. Meanwhile, when Hong is washing clothes with her fellows, she gets a call that her mother has had a heart attack. Hong runs to Guo, and Guo calls the same doctor whose number he had taken before, and he tells him about her surgery. Then Guo drops her at the airport. Just then, when Xiao comes to meet Hong, a fellow there tells him Hong's mother has fallen ill, and she has left. Xiao then runs to Guo, and Guo tells him her mother's surgery went perfectly fine. And then Xiao calls the hospital and talks to Hong, and she tells him, my mother is fine now. And she says, a lot of money has been spent. To which Xiao says, don't you worry about the money. I will arrange for the money. Then Xiao calls his sister, and his sister says, our situation is not good either. We can't give that much money. So he says, give as much as you can. I will manage the rest myself. Then he checks his savings, but he has nothing. Seeing him worried, his fellows give him their savings, and seeing this, Xiao gets emotional. Meanwhile, Hong is in the hospital, and the doctor tells her about her mother's condition and asks her to pay the bill. Hong doesn't have money and gets worried. She calls Guo and asks him for money. Guo tells her, don't you worry, Fanzi will give you the money. When Fanzi comes to give the money, Hong takes the surgery money and returns the rest to her. Fanzi starts to taunt her and says, did you make a mistake by choosing Xiao? Because in your difficult times, it was Guo who helped you. And hearing this, Hong gets very angry. Meanwhile, Zhao is training very hard so that he can become an officer one day and won't need to take money from anyone. Then he calls and asks, and Hong tells him. He hangs up the call. His fellow is sitting with Xiao. He tells him, Hong didn't take my money because she didn't want to take my dad's savings and my family's savings. She borrowed money from Guo, to which his fellow tells him, Hong is not made for you. It will be the same in the future. She will need a lot to live a practical life which you can't provide. Zhao ignores his words. Then, a war was about to start there. All the soldiers were told to write a last letter. Meanwhile, Tong was also ready to go on her mission and says, in this war, if I save even one soldier's life, I will have achieved my life's purpose. Her director is very happy. And then the war starts. All the soldiers have been standing for 2 days, and Guo goes to the other side and mistakenly steps on a landmine. Just then, Xiao, searching for him, goes there. So Guo says, if I remove my foot from here, our enemies will attack us, and this is the last moment of my life. And Guo tells him, I still like Hong, and I am jealous of you because she likes you. And Xiao tells him to remove his foot, but Guo says, no, you go. These are the last moments of my life. But Xiao removes his foot and quickly puts his own foot down and tells him, you go from here and bring the other soldiers, and you can save my life. Guo runs and brings the other soldiers, and then the writer tells that many soldiers were injured and some had died. Right there, Guo picks up Xiao, who was very seriously injured. Tong is also present there as a medical doctor, and she recognizes Xiao and takes him to the operation theater. Tong tells Guo Xiao has a spinal injury. Guo starts to cry, and she tells him he will be fine. Guo asks her, will Xiao be able to join the army again? but Tong says nothing and leaves. And then, after being in a coma for many days, Xiao regains consciousness and talks to Tong for a while, and then goes back to sleep. When Hong comes back, she asks everyone about Xiao, but no one tells her. She becomes sad. In the medical camp, Tong is trying to give Xiao an injection, but he is refusing like a child. Just then, Guo arrives and explains he has been afraid of needles since childhood. And then Xiao asks Guo what happened. Guo tells him, when you had your foot on the mine, the enemies attacked, and then you were about to die when your foot slipped, and you went down. And in the same way, other soldiers also got very injured, and 2 have died. Just then, Hong asks Guo, where is Xiao? And Guo tells her, Xiao is not well and is in the medical camp in the hospital. Hong becomes very sad. Tong tells the doctor about Xiao's condition. So Xiao gets angry. Duan is walking despite a bone injury, but why am I not walking? The doctors tell him, have patience. Tong and the doctors explain, due to the pressure on the nerves, you are having back pain and leg pain. Then Xiao asks, will I be able to rejoin the army? So the doctors tell him about another surgery and say, that surgery cannot be done here in Yunnan. For that, you will have to go to Beijing. Hearing this, Xiao gets sad, and Tong motivates him and says, we will get the surgery done by a good doctor, and you will be fine very soon. Then Duan comes to him, and they both talk. He tells him, you are not only a good friend, but also a good soldier. And how did you step on that mine? Because you work so carefully. And hearing this, Xiao is also shocked, and they were just about to talk when Guo and Hong come from above. Duan congratulates Guo on being a brave soldier, and then they both go out. Now, Hong and Xiao are in the room. Seeing him in a wheelchair, Hong starts to cry. Xiao tells her, don't you worry. Hong tells him, you will get well very soon and join the army again. And during my performance, I want you to come walking on your own feet. Xiao says, I will do as you say. And Guo and Duan are talking, so Guo asks him, what was Xiao saying about the landmine? To which Duan says, nothing. You came from above, so our conversation was not complete. But Xiao had come first in the landmine exercise, so how did he make such a big mistake? Then Guo comes to Xiao and tells him, whatever awards these are, they are all yours. I didn't do anything. But Xiao tells him, I have become completely useless now. I can't even join the army again, and I have a leg injury. I don't know if I will even be able to walk. Hearing this, Guo gets emotional and says, whatever happens, I will definitely get you back on your feet, even if I have to go to the biggest doctor. In the next scene, Hong shows her musical art, which the commander likes a lot, and she gets selected for the next round. Then she comes to the hospital to meet Xiao, and she explains, I am going on a performance, and Guo has received a medal for his heroism, so he is also going on tour with me. Xiao is very happy for both of them. Then Hong explains, I won't be able to meet you during that tour. Meanwhile, Tong tells Hong about Xiao's condition and says, as much as possible, stay with Xiao. He needs you. Hong listens to her but remains busy in her life and goes on tour. Then, in front of everyone, Guo receives an award medal, and somewhere, Hong starts to feel bad for choosing Xiao over Guo. Meanwhile, Tong takes Xiao out in the evening. Xiao is feeling tense inside, and Tong relaxes him and motivates him, and they both spend a very good time. The people there start to think they are husband and wife. Meanwhile, when Guo is standing in the lobby, Hong also comes there and asks Guo if Xiao can ever stand on his legs. To which Guo says, I will do anything to make him stand on his legs for sure. And then Guo tells her what happened that night. Then Hong realizes the real hero is Xiao, and they both think Xiao thinks about everyone, but we both only think about ourselves. And then Hong tells him, you fulfill your dreams, and I will fulfill my dreams so that Xiao feels good. Then Xiao tries to call his home. When the call doesn't connect, he calls his sister. She tells him, Dad's health is not good, so he can't talk to you. And Xiao starts to feel a strange restlessness. Just then, Guo had started giving speeches, and Hong is very impressed with him. In the next scene, when Xiao calls home, his sister tells him, Dad has passed away. She also tells him, at the last moment, Dad was repeatedly calling for Xiao. Hearing this, Xiao has an emotional breakdown. Just then, his commander comes there, and he tells Xiao, if you want, you can do a clerical job in the army, or if you want, you can also leave the army. To which Xiao says, I want to go into the army. But he doesn't get any positive response from the commander. One evening, when Xiao is sitting in the lawn and smiling, Tong arrives and tells him, I was very sorry to hear about your dad. Xiao tells her, my dad's wish was for me to always be a soldier, but I failed. Then Tong motivates him and tells a story about a soldier. He stepped on a landmine, and then he had surgery. Despite many efforts, he couldn't survive, but in his eyes, there was a reason to live. Hearing this, he says, I also have hope. I will also try to live my life the way I want to. Tong tells him, I have spoken to my friend. She will do the surgery. Hearing this, Xiao becomes happy. Just then, Hong arrives. Seeing Hong, Tong leaves. Then Hong tells Xiao, due to being very busy, I couldn't come to meet you, and she says something about his father. Just then, Xiao says, I have no problem. I understand you have a very busy schedule, and it's possible that I might not be able to come to your performance on my own feet. Hong tells him, you will be able to do a clerical job, and I will also get a promotion. Then, after some time, you will also get a promotion and we can get married. But Xiao says, I don't want to go into administration. I want to work as a soldier, and it wasn't my dream to go into administration. Don't you worry. I need some time now. I will think. And then after Hong leaves, he starts sketching his dad. Then he starts remembering his and his father's conversations, and he has an emotional breakdown. When Hong goes out, she meets her fellow. Her fellow asks Hong, what is the reason for your sadness? To which Hong says, nothing. But her fellow understands and tells her, if you are worried about choosing between Guo and Xiao, you should choose Guo, because your life will become more difficult with Xiao. Then, in the auditorium, Guo gives a speech, and everyone is very happy. When everyone leaves from there, Guo and Hong are sitting and thinking, if Xiao were in our place, what would he do? Guo says, he would have told the whole truth. And Hong says, if I were in a wheelchair, he would have stood by me, not left me like this. And then they both think that until they correct their actions, they will remain like this. Then the ma'am calls Hong to the office and asks her to sign a paper and says, think about your future and don't get into the trap of love. Then something happens to Hong, and she takes a 2-day leave from the mom and runs to Xiao and ties a band on him and says, ma'am told me, this love is nothing, think about your future. But I love you very much. Maybe I won't be able to love anyone this much. And she starts to cry. Xiao relaxes her and tells her not to cry. And then she asks Xiao, will you be able to walk on your own feet? To which Xiao says, even doctors can't confirm that, so how can I? Hearing this, Hong falls silent, and Xiao asks her, will you wait for me? But Hong says nothing, so Xiao understands the meaning of her silence, and she says she has to go for her performance and starts to leave. Xiao holds her hand, but Hong frees her hand and leaves without giving any answer. Xiao understands the meaning of her silence and starts to cry. Hong also leaves from there, crying. Then Duan leaves the hospital and goes to Hong. Hong asks him, where is Xiao? And he says, Xiao is going to Beijing, and his train will leave in an hour. If you want to meet him, get to him in an hour. And he hands her a letter and leaves. And she reads the letter, in which it is written, you were confused about me and Guo from the beginning. You want to live a fulfilling life. I would want you to choose me, but if you choose Guo, I will do nothing. I will leave. And reading this, she runs to the station to meet Xiao. Just then, Guo arrives and tells her, will you waste your dream and your hard work? Hong gets lost in thought and in the end, chooses herself. Xiao is sitting alone on the train, waiting for Hong, but Hong doesn't come. Just then, Tong arrives and sits next to him. Then the train starts to move, and Tong gives him medicine. Xiao tells her, you get off here because you should fulfill your dreams. Don't waste your time because of me. Tong says, I have decided that whoever needs me, I will definitely help them. And I have left from there to come with you to help you. Tong motivates him. Don't call yourself disabled again and again. You will be fine very soon after the surgery. Then they both hide their tears from each other and start eating oranges. Meanwhile, the guilt of cheating Xiao and the sorrow of low self-esteem in front of Hong is eating Guo up. He thinks, I will tell the whole truth. In Beijing, Xiao's family comes to pick him up at the station, and his sister gets emotional seeing Xiao. Then Xiao comes home and goes to his dad's room and starts to cry and misses his dad. Then Tong reports, I have taken an appointment with the doctor for the surgery, and Xiao's sister asks him, what about Hong? To which Xiao explains, she is the leader of the orchestra, and we have broken up. To which his sister says, you will get well very soon. In Yunnan, Guo was conducting training when his commander calls him. Then when he comes out, Hong arrives and asks him, so Guo explains, I told the commander the whole truth. Whatever happens, I am not one of those who would take my friend's credit. Then the writer tells that the credit for the victory in that war is given to both Guo and Xiao. In Beijing, when Tong goes to her home, her parents ask her, what is the reason for your return? To which Tong says, Xiao is my friend, and I am his doctor. I have come here for him. Her parents don't like this. She says sorry to them and leaves for the hospital. In the hospital, Xiao, his sister, and Tian have also come. She talks to the doctor. The doctor reports, surgery is possible, but there is a very high chance that Xiao might become disabled. There is a 70% chance that he will be fine, but there is also a 30% chance that Xiao might die. Hearing this, everyone gets worried, but Xiao says, I will definitely get the surgery. I have full faith in the doctor and Tong. Meanwhile, in Yunnan, the ma'am makes Hong the leader of the orchestra in front of everyone. Everyone congratulates Hong. Guo also brings flowers for her. Then they both go for a drive in the car, and Hong enjoys driving in the car like that a lot. In Beijing, Xiao's operation is successful, and when they bring him out of the operation theater, the doctor says, the operation went perfectly, fine, but we will only know if any nerves were damaged after Xiao wakes up. Then, when Xiao wakes up, the doctor moves his feet, and he is able to move them. Everyone is very happy. Then, Dr. Tong tells him to take care of Xiao's exercise and rehabilitation. Xiao thanks Tong and tells her, "Don't come to the rehabilitation center with me. You fulfill your dreams." Tong comes out and starts to cry because the doctor had told her that Xiao's back nerve was damaged. But she doesn't tell this to anyone. The next morning, Tong comes to get him to exercise and Xiao asks her, "What are your future plans?" To which Tong says, "My parents have spoken to a hospital. I have an interview today." Xiao is very happy for her. Meanwhile, Tong's parents also agree, "Fulfill your dream of becoming a doctor. We are happy in your happiness." Then Tong talks to the doctor about coming to check on Xiao. That doctor agrees to come on Saturday from his busy schedule, and Tong is happy. In the next scene, Tong brings Xiao to the rehab center, and after a checkup, the doctor there tells Tong if Xiao feels the right nerve, there are chances of his recovery. While making Xiao exercise, a boy there says, "You have got a very good girlfriend. You should also keep taking care of her." In the next scene, Tong goes to Xiao's house and tells him, "I am practicing these days." Then she puts a needle on Xiao's leg and asks, "Are you feeling anything?" To which Xiao says, "No." Tong tells him, "It's all right. Everything will be fine." The next day, Tong takes Xiao to the hospital for a checkup, and the doctor tells her to do regular exercise, and Tong sends him with a nurse to get medicine and talks to the doctor. Meanwhile, Xiao also secretly starts listening to their conversation. The doctor says there is not even a 1% chance of Xiao's recovery. He might be disabled in his right leg. Hearing this, Tong starts to cry. Seeing her cry, Xiao also starts to cry. Then Tong asks the doctor if we take him abroad and get treatment there, to which the doctor says that will also be of no use. Tong brings him home and tells him, "You are recovering." But Xiao now knows, so he says, "I have to go to the rehabilitation center. I will walk now." He goes there and tries to walk and starts to exert himself. Tong stops him, but he doesn't listen. Then Tong has to say, "If you do this, you might not be able to walk at all." Hearing this, he stops. The next day, Xiao is sitting when Li comes there. He makes fun of his disability and says, "Hong left you and chose Guo." Hearing this, Xiao gets angry. He starts to get up and falls. Just then, Tong comes and picks him up and he says, "I heard everything the doctor said." And he shouts, "Tong, don't ruin your life for a disabled person like me." Hearing this, Tong starts to cry and leaves. Xiao's sis tells him, "You shouldn't have talked to Tong like that." After that, Tong doesn't come, and Xiao feels bad that he is now alone. When he is sitting at home, the bell rings. Xiao thinks maybe Tong has come, but it's not so, and he becomes sad. Then he practices walking at home and is moving his right leg to a great extent. Just then, a call comes. Xiao thinks maybe it's Tong's call, but it's Heizi. Heizi says Tong is in danger. Tong buys a piece of equipment for Xiao, which Li has his eye on. He kidnaps Tong. Hearing Tong is in danger, Heizi, Tian, and Xiao come there. Their fight with Li and his group starts. They knock Xiao down and then start hitting Tong. Seeing this, Xiao gets up without support and goes to hit them but falls again. Then they start hitting Tong and Xiao. Just then, the police arrive. Xiao tells Tong that he walked without support, so Tong starts to cry and applies medicine to his wound. Xiao tells her, "I missed you a lot." Then Tong makes him exercise with that equipment and helps him a lot so that he can walk. Xiao was now recovering somewhat. Tong tells him to try teaching. Now Xiao starts doing his exercise on his own, and after some time he walks on his own feet to Tong and gives her a rehabilitation course that Tong wanted to do. Seeing this, Tong feels very good. When she goes out, Xiao sees the same book there that he had given to the library girl. He is shocked to see that the girl is Tong. Then Tong gives him a wedding coat. Xiao smiles, and they both go to the library. Xiao proposes to her. They both hug and are very happy. In Yunnan, Hong is asked to perform at a place. She agrees, and while sleeping at night, a mosquito bites her, due to which she falls ill. Guo takes her to the hospital and the doctor says the injection she needs is not available here. Guo runs 30 miles away to get the injection and is with Hong all night. Just then, the nurse there tells Hong, "Your boyfriend is very nice. He stayed awake for you all night and went 30 miles away to get the injection." So Hong thanks Guo. In Beijing, Tong and Xiao both spend a very good time. Xiao comes to Tong's house, and she tells him, "Now you are completely fine, and you should do some work now if you can't go into the army." To which Xiao says, "Going into the army was my dream, but now I can't do that, so I will definitely think of something." And then Tong tells him, "You should meet my parents because as soon as they hear your name, my parents become silent." Xiao agrees to meet. The next day, Xiao goes to meet Tong's parents. His mother greets Xiao, and Xiao salutes Tong's father and talks to them. His father also discusses Tong. The next day, Tong and Xiao are sitting in the garden. Xiao explains how Chen has given him an opportunity in the anti-smuggling squad, and Tian has also asked him to join the business. Tong understands that Xiao has no interest in either of these jobs and says, "As long as you want, I can help you. And then as long as I want, you can help me. You don't need to take too much load." On the other side, Guo's subordinate comes and tells everyone Guo has sent gifts for everyone and that Guo and Hong are getting married. In Yunnan, Hong is standing in the room when Guo comes from behind and hugs her and says, "Now we are going to get married." Hong, with a fake smile, says, "I am very happy." The next day, Guo and Hong come to Beijing where they are all shocked to see Xiao walking on his own feet. Just then, Tong arrives, and Xiao holds Tong's hand to let everyone else know that they are in a relationship. Seeing this, Hong feels jealous. Then they all eat together. Haizi arrives there and says, "Guo, when are you guys getting married?" To make Xiao jealous, Hong says, "We are getting married very soon." But it didn't affect Xiao at all. He was just looking at Tong. Seeing this, Hong gets angry and says she wants to skate. Everyone refuses, but Hong insists. They all go skating. There, Hong dresses up just as she did on day 1 when she met Xiao. Then she goes to Xiao and he says, "At one moment I loved you, but now there is nothing like that." To which Hong says, "If I had come on the train with you that day, everything would have been different." Hearing this, Xiao says, "At that time you did what you did for your own betterment." Then Xiao takes Tong from there, and they roam around a snow area where Tong tells Xiao, "I don't know how to skate. Will you teach me?" To which Xiao playfully refuses. Then they both go to the library and remember their old days and hug. In Yunnan, Hong and Guo get married. Ma'am tells Hong the violin department is going to be disbanded. Hearing this, Hong gets worried, and she tells Guo, "Talk to some senior officer that if another place can be made, I want to stay in the army." Then Hong finds out that Guo is also going to leave the army, so she gets very angry and tells Guo, "If you had to leave the army, why did you work so hard?" Then Guo convinces Hong, "Let's go to Beijing. Everything will be fine there. I will talk to some good orchestra and you can perform there." In Beijing, Xiao joins the anti-smuggling squad and goes there wearing a uniform. In Yunnan, Hong and Guo both leave the military and are coming back. Both are very emotional. Hong says, "How my talent was recognized after coming here." And then they get in the car and come back, and they have flashbacks which make them emotional. In Beijing, when Xiao comes home at night after doing his duty, he sees that Tong is cooking for him. He is very happy to see this. Meanwhile, in Yunnan, Guo tells Hong, "I have to go out of the city for 2 days. Will you come with me?" To which Hong says, "No, I am waiting for the result of my orchestra. I won't come." He leaves, and Hong starts working very hard for herself and practices, and is under a lot of stress. And then one day while practicing, she faints. She is taken to the hospital, and it is found out that Hong is pregnant and has a miscarriage. Guo is very sad. Then he tells Hong, "It's all right, I won't blame you for this. Everything will be fine." He asks the doctor, "What things do I need to take care of during my wife's pregnancy?" The doctor tells him Hong already knew that she was pregnant. Hearing this, Guo is shocked. He starts to question Hong. In Beijing, when Tong is sitting with her parents, the doorbell rings. When she opens the door, Xiao is there. Xiao thinks that no one is at home and runs and hugs Tong, but she tells him, "My parents are at home." And then he quickly lets go. And then he comes home. They eat and talk. In the next scene, Guo and Hong are sitting with their parents, and Guo's parents tell Hong, "You should now leave your job and take care of the house," which irritates Hong a lot. And Guo's mother says, "Until you give us a grandson, you will not do any job." Due to which Hong gets angry and gets up and leaves. In Beijing, Xiao struggles a lot and sets up his own business. Seeing him like this, Tong feels very good and also helps him in his business. On the other hand, Guo and Hong get into a fight. Hong says, "You can't do anything." Guo says, "How? All my friends and Xiao are living their successful lives." Hearing Xiao's name, Hong leaves from there. Guo thinks, "I will definitely work hard and will not let Hong regret her decision. I will definitely do something." Then after some time, Tong and Xiao finally get married. Very few people attend their wedding. They are both very happy. They smile remembering their old days and spend a beautiful couple's night. Then Xiao has a business meeting with Guo. When Guo sees Xiao, he is shocked. They both talk to each other and decide, "We will keep our business and our friendship separate." And then going home, he tells Hong, Xiao has become a successful businessman and also has a 10-year-old daughter. Hearing this, Hong tells him, "You are taunting me." He says, "I am just telling you." Then Guo tells her, "Xiao has invited us to his daughter's birthday. I will go. If you want to come, you can come." When Guo comes alone to the birthday party, Tong asks why Hong didn't come. Just then, Hong comes from behind and gifts the baby the old skating kit, which she refuses to take. So Tong explains to her daughter, and she takes it. On the way, Guo shouts at Hong, "Why did you give such an old gift?" To which Hong says, "I didn't think that much about it." Then going home, Hong says, "I can't live with you like this." Then they both talk, share their problems, and finally, their divorce happens with mutual understanding. Hong goes to Paris for studies. Guo is trying to set up his own business and meets with Xiao. He gets ready to help him, and they both become friends again. On the other hand, a virus has come to Tong's hospital, due to which Tong also gets that virus. So, Xiao gets very worried, and Tong starts to cry and says, "You take care of yourself and the baby, and I will come back after getting well." Then she gets admitted to the hospital, and after some time, she gets well. So Xiao comes to meet her. They both hug, and Tong starts to cry. Coming home, everyone is sitting and talking about how they all used to skate together, and now everyone is busy in their own lives, but everyone is also happy in their own lives. And this is the happy ending of the drama.